There is backstage frustration over SmackDown. We'll talk about it. Plus, we have an update on an injured WWE champion and the latest on a long-awaited WWE return. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. SmackDown on a Friday, 3 hours long. I watched it live last week when we had The Rock do his thing.
Yeah.
And it can be a bit of a slog, can't it?
It can be a bit of a slog, can't it?
It's a bit of a heavy business. And I, for one, am not the only person that thinks that. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But the Wrestling Observer, first of all, have given us an update on how long we're expected to see 3-hour episodes of SmackDown for.
Yes, we are expected to see 3-hour episodes of SmackDown until at least the summer, says the Wrestling Observer. The reason for keeping it at this length is that the USA Network decision to make up for losing Raw and NXT in the Netflix deal, as it means viewership for their channel is down because of it.
So you're losing Raw, you're losing NXT, have an extra hour of SmackDown.
Yep.
Basically what it is. And do you know what? You feel it when you watch it. WrestleVotes Radio reporting there's not much love backstage for 3-hour smackers, saying we're told several within the company strongly dislike the 3-hour format, and those sources feel like the quality of the show has dipped in the last 2 months. Prior to the expansion, there was optimism and belief that some underutilized talent would be able to shine, considering the extra hour. However, that has not come to fruition as of yet. SmackDown is still scheduled to return to 2 hours come this June, as the Observer has said as well. Yeah, I thought we might maybe pack it out with people who don't normally get a look in, and
yes,
haven't really felt that energy.
I mean, it feels as though that's not, as WrestleVotes say there as well, it feels like that's just not come to fruition as of yet, because it seems like the prime opportunity to do that when you've got so many people on that roster that don't necessarily get the TV time. But instead, it feels like they mess with the flow of the show. It doesn't like flow as well as it should. And it feels like they just try and figure out how to get from one match to the other. Just fill it with like promos and other backstage things here and there, rather than have something that feels a bit more concise and like to the point and can like actually build to things for the next week and whatnot too.
Yeah, it feels like it doesn't feel like it's 3 hours are being utilized the way they should be.
Yeah,
it feels like it just feels empty and big slots of it. I was watching it live. I don't think I'm going to watch SmackDown live again until it becomes 2 hours, because like an ad break every 5 minutes.
And that's the thing as well, isn't it? You feel like as soon as they start a match, usually you're going into a break, they'll come back for a couple of moves and then it'll be a break again. It's you do genuinely really feel it, yeah.
It's and you know, obviously with watching it on Netflix, you get some of the matches at least between those breaks, but a lot of the time it's just those slow motion videos of the wrestlers just like pose into the camera, during which I had Downton Abbey on my phone and I was just watching Downton Abbey between the breaks.
Very nice.
Catching up on the Spanish flu, ripping through Downton. But I shan't watch it live again for a while. Ricky Starks is now Ricky Saints. He made his in-ring debut for NXT this past Tuesday. A lot of people wondering why the name changed.
Yeah, according to PW Insider, WWE just simply wanted to trademark the name themselves, whilst there's the odd exception to the rule. It's WWE, isn't it? And they tend to change names so they can own that IP.
They certainly do. There's a few people like, you know, your Samoa Joes, your AJ Styles, your Jade Cargills that have retained their name, but Ricky Starks becoming Ricky Saints is something they wanted to do, something they wanted to change, and that's what they've done. I can't say that's a shocker of a story, but that's what it is. Staying with NXT, coming up in a few weeks' time, we have NXT Roadblock, WWE Roadblock. They're putting WWE at the start now. And we're going to see Julia, the NXT Women's Champion, taking on Stephanie Vaquer, the NXT Women's North American Champion. And it was reported yesterday that an injury may lead to the result of that match being spoiled. PW Insider gives us an update on Julia's status going into that match, saying, in speaking to several sources at WWE today, they all claimed to a person there that there is no major injury, but acknowledged that there is, quote, bumps and bruises, as one person described it. To one person, all sources reiterated that what we reported yesterday in the Elite section is true, that Julia is 100% expected to work the roadblock match against Stephanie Vaquer in the theatre at Madison Square Garden, but she is banged up and maybe taking some time away to heal up a little bit.
I mean, it's nice to hear that they're allowing her to do this. I mean, obviously it sucks that it comes at the detriment of her having to lose the championship so soon after obtaining it, but it also kind of, in my mind, signals that they really value Julia a lot and see her sort of like spearheading this women's division, and allowing her to go away to take time so it doesn't develop into something more major is a good thing, at least in my eyes, from a company perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's one we're going to keep an eye on as well. I would wonder now that this injury situation with Julia has been publicised so far and wide, including on here. Hello. I wonder whether or not they might look at changing some of the booking of that match, whether or not maybe they find a way to do it that gets the belt off Julia in a slightly different way.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. I know WWE sometimes will tend to pivot based on stuff like that.
That's a good. I mean, they could have it vacated somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then be a tournament for that championship. It remains to be seen. We shall see what happens there.
So also, let's move over to some Stephanie McMahon flavoured news. WrestleVote says she's launching a podcast.
Yeah, Stephanie McMahon will be launching her own podcast series expected this spring. Given her life and experiences in wrestling, this series should be nearly. This series should be as compelling as they come.
WWE have previously had a podcast from The New Day and Corey Graves. There was talk about them doing like a podcast network that never seemed to materialize.
Oh.
This is going back a couple of years now. I thought they would have like their own like podcast arm, but they haven't really done that. But this comes as Stephanie McMahon is launching her own show on ESPN Plus called Stephanie's Places, which is kind of like a travelogue type wrestling interview show where she just travels to hang out with different wrestlers in different parts of the world.
I like stuff like I just like listening to backstage stories and stories that people have had and their experiences and stuff, and anything like that is always a big yes in my books. So I'm looking forward to it.
If they're looking for a name for it, by the way, you can tie it in with wrestling and with her name. And who loves a good pun title? I suggest you call it the Steph Infection. Welcome to the Steph Infection. Today's show is sponsored by Magic Spoon and Blue Chew.
That was not what I was expected in the slightest.
Well, I'm glad to surprise you.
That's tremendous.
Steph Infection, you're very welcome. Hey,
wow.
Let's get an update on Jade Cargill, who got killed before Christmas. What's going on? Because she's still missing.
Yeah, so multiple sources have revealed that she's been making regular appearances at the Performance Center ahead of a comeback, as I think we've also reported as well. WrestleVotes offer the latest, however, saying sources state Jade Cargill has been cleared for action. Expect her return imminently. The payoff to Who Done It is coming.
And I'm relieved because I thought for a bit that we were just going to bin it off altogether. It felt that way, didn't it? That they just got moving on without her.
I'm so intrigued as to who it's going to be. I still believe in my heart of hearts it's Bianca Belair, but I also feel in my heart of hearts that Bianca's going to win the Chamber this weekend, which signals to me that maybe they don't go the Jade and Bianca route for WrestleMania. Unless it is now. I don't know. I'm just bucking in my head right now. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people thought that Belair would be the shoo-in to win the Chamber and then face Rhea Ripley. Whether or not we see Naomi eliminate Bianca from the Chamber, and then maybe it comes to light that it was Naomi. What did it?
Well, I mean, she did eat the pin. She did eat the pin in that tag team title match on Raw this week.
What if they both did it?
I kind of like that as well.
You know how Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods both turned on Big E?
Yeah.
What if Naomi and Bianca Belair both did it? And
might
they
be onto
both
some
turn on Cargill.
And a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Well, or a
I don't
handicap
know.
match which Cargill can win.
Oh, yeah.
Pick them both up and throw them into the atmosphere.
Lovely.
That could be a thing. Before we get to WrestleMania, it's Elimination Chamber this weekend.
It sure is. Myself and Adam will be live reacting to the show. 10 p.m. GMT is when the pre-show starts, and then we'll be heading into the main card at 12 p.m. a.m. whatever the time is at that time. Midnight.
p.m. is lunchtime.
a.m. lunchtime.
A long kickoff show.
Midnight time. It'll be a lovely time. So you can join us there at youtube.com/cultaholic/live, but that's not the only thing you've got as well, because not long after that show, you'll have a Jack the Jobber's What Happened At on the YouTube channel, and then on Patreon, you will have the wonderful Ross Swaddle doing his WTF moments for the show too.
You can check out our Patreon SmackDown right now that not only features WTF moments for every WWE, AEW pay-per-view, but it also features the home of punishments. It also features video versions of the classic reviews and loads of extra bits as well. You'll get some special videos early as well if you are a Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And for the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Kiss, kiss.
Love you, bye.